Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
All right, let me see. Does this work now? Let me know in the chat if you're watching right now live. Because I know this past Tuesday on the Raw Rundown, I found out near the end that there was like an audio issue. So I'm trying to make sure if the audio is better now. Let me know if you're listening live right now. But we are live, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everyone? We are live. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. It is now time for another edition of Something About Dynamite here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. Let me get this fixed real quick. What is this? There we go. We are so back, as someone I know would say. What's up, everyone? Hope all of you are good. It's me. It's Steve, live from the new house, if you will. What's going on, everyone? I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. I hope all of you guys are excited for the weekend. I hope all of you are just chilling in general. You know, we are now is right now December the 4th, 2025. We are 21 days away from Santa Claus coming to town. Are y'all excited? Are you happy? Are you hoping to get the gifts that you want and hopefully give the gifts to your loved ones and stuff like that? But be that as it may, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share it through all social media with all your friends and all that fun stuff. And if you want to become a channel member, it's only $2.99 a month. But if you want to become a channel member, hit that join button. If you don't see the join button, hit that. There's a link down below. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, there's a link down below where you can click and you become a channel member only for $2.99 a month. All right. Also, if you want to be generous here, be very appreciative, leave a super chat. It does go back to the channel. But this is your AEW Dynamite review for December the 3rd, 2025. AEW Dynamite was live last night from the Fishers Event Center in Fishers, Indiana. This was the continuation of the Continental Classic. And the main event was Jon Moxley versus Claudio Castagnoli. That was the main event. And overall, I'm going to be honest with you. If you are into the wrestling, if you are just into the wrestling as a whole, this show was for you. If you are, again, into the wrestling, right? Because one thing about AEW is they're not going to give you bad wrestling. That's never going to happen. Okay? Let's get that clear. I'll just be honest. For me, the show was, it's all right. Nothing really like, oh my God. I mean, if anything, go back and rewatch, if anything, is Kyle Fletcher versus Kevin Knight. Go back and rewatch that, if anything. But outside of that, you know, they are continuing the Continental Classic, right? Let's be honest, you kind of know already what's the final going to be. You already know, like, you know, the final is going to be Konosuke Takeshita and Okada. So all the stuff that we're seeing, yeah, it's cool and all, but you already know what's bound to happen. Also on the show, you had the other semifinal match in the women's tag team title tournament between the Timeless Love Bombs, and I cannot believe they're calling them this name, but the Mega Problems between Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne. Yeah, they're known as the Mega Problems. That's something that I guarantee a lot of you are not going to call them. I guarantee there's nobody out there that's going to go out of their way and call them the mega problems. Oh, look over there. Look, look who's there to save the day. It's the mega problems. Or like, come on. No, it's just not happening. But let me know your thoughts in the chat, your thoughts on Dynamite from last night. What did you like? What did you not like? Let me know in the chat and all that fun stuff. Let's get this started, guy. Let's without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Let's fucking go.
That's right. Let's fucking go, as Tony Khan said. The show opened up with Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston having their face off. That's how this show opened up, with their face off. Being that I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but they do have a world title match happening next week. That's right, next week. At Winter is Coming on December the 10th. They are going to be having a match live from Atlanta for the AEW World Championship. So this was their face-to-face. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't mind this. So it opened up with Tony Schiavone, right? He kicked off the show presenting Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston. Joe obviously told Schiavone to get out. And Joe said that Eddie was a guy who talks about his potential, but never fulfills it, right? Joe then told Kingston he knew he would fight his hardest, but he wouldn't cross the finish line at Winter is Coming. And then Eddie responded by saying that he was still bamboozled by Joe talking about Jets and that Joe had sold himself hard. Kingston, though, went on to say that he did not expect to see the version of Samoa Joe that we're seeing right now, and that he just wants exactly like the old timers, that he became one of the old timers. And he also wants Samoa Joe next week to bring back the old Samoa Joe, not this Samoa Joe that we're seeing, but the one that, was on a wrecking, that was beating up everyone back in the day, including, in Eddie Kingston's words, one of his mentors, Homicide, right? He wants that Samoa Joe. I think it's kind of crazy to sit here and be like, oh, Eddie Kingston never crossed the finish line. I mean, if memory serves me correct, didn't Eddie Kingston win the inaugural Continental Classic? Didn't Eddie Kingston win the Triple Crown, right? If memory serves me correct, didn't Eddie Kingston win the Ring of Honor World Championship at Arthur Ashe at Grand Slam against one of his longtime rival that he hates with a passion, and Claudio Castagnoli? I'm just saying, right? Be that as it may, the match itself, look, I think Samoa is going to retain. I really don't see Eddie winning here, but it should be a fine match for the most part. And I know they also reference Hook. Like Hook was also mentioned in this as Hook was also mentioned in this as well, where basically Samoa Joe said, "Oh, it was the plan the entire time to have Hook go over to the other side, right?" And pretty much, he wanted Hook to go to the other side to see what it's like to eat at the second place table and eat steaks from the third place table and all that stuff. Whatever. But be that as it may, next week it will go down. Eddie Kingston versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship at Winter is Coming. To my understanding, this is Samoa Joe's first title defense since winning it at Full Gear. So it should be a fun match for the most part, but I do think Samoa Joe does retain at the end. From there, we go on to the match from the Continental Classic in the Gold League. We have Kazuchika Okada versus Pac. Now you have two heels here. One representing the Don Callis family in Okada, who is the defending champion in this tournament. And I'll be honest, I get why the concept is the way that it is. And this is AEW taking a page out of New Japan, right? This is essentially their G1. I understand it in the G1, the world champion participates. I get that. I understand that's the tradition. But I'll be honest, I don't really think they need to have the defending champion in this fucking tournament. I think, honestly, the prize should be, yeah, you wrestle Okada for the unified title. That should be the prize, or in this case, the Continental Championship. It's so fucking head scratching, right? When you think about it. But to me, I think Okada should not be wrestling in this tournament, right? And then you have Pac, who is from the Death Riders. Two heels, right? Two heels. Who do you cheer for? The match, I'll be honest, it was there. Like, let's be honest, okay? Okada right now is just phoning it in. And I don't blame him. I do not blame the guy. The guy's earned the right to phone it in. When you think about it, he's earned that right? He's been around for so long, putting his body on the line in Japan, right? Now he's just chilling. He's making the bag. He's getting paid, right? He's getting his paper.
Payday. You want?
So for him, it's like, you know what? I'll just take it easy, right? And I thought the match, again, for what it was just there, right? I'm amazed in how jacked up is Pac right now. I'm impressed. I'm amazed by that, right? Somebody call USADA. Somebody call USADA. But when it was all said and done, Okada picks up the W. It's his first win here. He picks up his first 3 points. Pac, I believe, in this, he is this I believe his first loss, I believe, in the tournament. So he is now 1-1. He has 3 points. So just Okada, they're both 1-1, right? If you remember, Okada lost last week to Kyle Fletcher in the opening of the tournament. So there's that. And from there, like I mentioned before, Okada earned his first 3 points in the tournament with this win. From there, we see backstage, we see Mark Briscoe. And as you guys know, Mark Briscoe is your TNT champion, right? And he announces that he will defend the TNT championship. That's right. The TNT championship at Winter is Coming against Daniel Garcia. And it is official, by the way. It is official. It is going down. It is going down at 4:30 a.m. At 4:30 p.m. I'm sorry. Saturday, December the 13th, coast to coast. And this will be taking place in Cardiff, Wales. Yeah, so I guess they're going to Europe, and this is taking place in Cardiff, Wales. So it will be, I guess, going live or pre-tape, whatever the case may be, on December 13th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. But here we are. I mean, let's be honest. Who's asking for this match? Who in their right mind is sitting there like, yo, we need to see Mark Briscoe and Daniel Garcia? No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Again, this is just to get some wins for Mark Briscoe, which is fine. I do like the new custom AEW TNT Championship, the way it looks, but that's happening at Collision, right? It's happening on Collision. Also, they announced that Ricochet got a promo backstage. As you guys probably are aware, he will be defending the national championship against Dalton Castle at Final Battle. But also on Collision, he will defend the championship against any lucky soul out there, right? He also is mentioning that there's promoters hitting him up, wanting him to bring that national championship against that indie promotion's top star and stuff like that. So real soon we'll be seeing Ricochet on the independents defending that title, and there's that, right? From there, we go on to the next match in the Continental Classic. In the Gold League, once again, we have Kyle Fletcher, right, going up against Kevin Knight. And I thought this was probably the match of the night, you have arguably two of your future stars for this company going at it, going back and forth. Kevin Knight with this crazy ass drop kick, right? But you got to also remember too, Kevin Knight has a win over Darby Allin. I know there's still an unknown status on Darby Allin. I know there's a video of him laying in a hospital bed. This has happened. This is because of what happened last week in the match between Darby and Kevin Knight in the Continental Classic when Kevin Knight went coast to coast. This is crazy, right? Like, it's a legit injury, right? Darby's status is unknown. This is a guy who got ran over by a bus, thrown off of stairs, right? All the stuff you can imagine. Climbs Mount Everest, puts his life at risk. There's all these crazy stuff, and this is what puts him in the fucking hospital. You cannot make this up. Wishing Darby a speedy recovery. Hopefully, everything turns out to be okay, but we'll see what that ends up being. But when it was all said and done, Kyle Fletcher does get the W. He now has 6 points in the tournament. So there was that. And again, overall, it's cool to see like your future stars going at it, tearing the house down, getting the crowd excited, right? So that was cool to see. After the match, Don Callis called out the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks laid out Hechicero, Josh Alexander, right, to clear the ring. They got their money, but Okada betrayed them. That's right, the same Okada who was part of the Elite, and then went over to the Don Callis family. And then Jurassic Express tried to make the save, but El Clone and Mark Davis aided them, right? And Don Callis tried to get into the get in on the action, right? But then Kenny Omega made the same. Kenny Omega made the save, prevented this from happening, right? And look, to me, honestly, it's about this money. I'm good, bro. But then again, this is what they can do with Kenny Omega, right? This is what they can do. Like, he can't wrestle singles matches, so you got to put him in these trios, multi-person matches and stuff. So there's that. I mean, look, I think Kenny could do better than this, but it is what it is at this point in juncture. After this, we saw a vignette for the Babes of Wrath, who are in the finals, right? And they're waiting for the winners between the timeless love bombs and Megan Bain and Marina Shafir. I am not calling them the mega problems, but whatever. And they had, and again, the match itself, they had a hardcore holiday death match, because if you remember, Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa picked up the win at Full Gear, so they got the opportunity to call their stipulation, and this is what they chose. Now, I understand, like, hey, you want to, give them a stipulation just to spice things up a bit here. But I'll be honest, I just feel like we've seen this so many times. Like, think about it, right? A couple of weeks ago, you saw Blood and Guts, right? You saw Blood and Guts. You saw them bleed and go crazy with the weapons, right? And then fast forward, Full Gear, like, you see again more weapons and hardcore shit. Like, for the matches, people were bleeding. Samoa Joe was fucking literally giving donation to the blood drive and shit. And now here we are, once again, another fucking hardcore match. I was good. Look, I appreciate the effort. I really, really do. I appreciate the effort of the women here. But I did not need this to be what it was. I did not need it to be this fucking hardcore bullshit. When it was all said and done, the timeless time bomb did get the win. And again, this did not need to be the stipulation. And I'll be honest, like, if you're looking at it now, right? If you're looking at the graphic, because it is now official, right? it will be, right? It will be to determine who will be the new champions. It will be the first inaugural women's tag team champions in AEW, the Babes of Wrath versus Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. I know everyone is saying, oh, Toni Storm and Mina. I'll be honest. There's a part of me is like, yo, I really hope they don't go that direction. I really hope they give it to Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. I hope they go that direction. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't need to see Toni Storm hold these tag titles. I don't need it. I don't need to see that. Mina Shirakawa, I'll be honest, she's beautiful, right? She's beautiful, right? She's nice to look at. But then the bell rings, and you're like, whatever. She's just chilling too. And this is the thing that I think Chase said this a while back. You know, she's now in America. She's wrestling here in the States, just like Okada. They're just chilling. They're taking it easy, right? That's just the vibe that I get. But to me, honestly, and I don't know how many of you feel about this, I don't think that you need to have Toni Storm and Mina win the tag titles. That's just me, one man's opinion. But we'll see where they go about this. From there, we see Mercedes Moné was interviewed backstage where she announced that she will be in action on Ring of Honor TV tomorrow. And then she also went on to say it was announced that she will be defending the Ring of Honor Women's Television Championship against Red Velvet at Final Battle. Now, I said a while back that there's a big probability that Mercedes won't show up in Ring of Honor. I was wrong. And I can admit, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Y'all know me for long enough. When I'm wrong, I am wrong. It is what it is. That being said, they need to continue with the downfall. Now, do they do it here? I mean, do you really have Red Velvet beat Mercedes? Maybe, but I just don't know. I don't see Tony allowing Red Velvet to beat Mercedes Moné, but I do think you need to start that whole thing where we saw Mercedes lose her second crack at the AEW Women's World Championship, right? She lost to Chris Statlander. So now you got to continue this, right? The downfall. She starts losing everything just so she could eventually capture the AEW Women's World Championship. So I would say, yeah, I would have her start losing. But again, I just don't see Tony doing it here. But I think he should. From there, we got a video promo backstage with FTR and the Bang Bang Gang regarding the Bang Bang Gang, calling them out. So there was that too, for the most part. I did find funny Stokely Hathaway's line. Oh, that the gang, the Bang Bang Gang, we're gonna dedicate this to Jay White, and I think the other member of the Gun Club. Like, damn, bro, you dedicating to Pop the Boys who are on the injured reserve. I thought that was funny as all hell, right? But I thought FTR looked good here, reminding one of the Guns, hey, what happened the last time when the tag titles were on the line? They lost to FTR, so there was that. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but we saw earlier in the night, we did see a promo, a little like promo here of Hook with Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata. And look, I think Hook's promos are just the bleeding shits, in my humble opinion. I said what I said about Hook a long time ago. I'm not going to repeat myself. That being said, at this point, it is what it is. You got to work with what you got, right? But Powerhouse Hobbs did announce that they were watching Ring of Honor, and they were impressed by none other than the Dark Order. Yes, the Dark Order made a return to AEW TV. That's right, the fucking Dark Order. They were so backstage they met up with Hangman Page, and they asked Hangman to stay away from their match against the Ops, because for them, this was an opportunity to eventually get a shot at the Trios titles. And Hangman Page said, fine, but once the match is over, it's gloves off, right? But then you get the match. And what do you know? The Ops picked up the W. The Dark Order, yo. Evil. If y'all remember, the last time AEW got 1 million viewers, Evil Uno was on the show. Millie Uno, bro. Millie Uno on the show here. And the match went to commercial. Because for whatever reason it did, the match went about 7 minutes. Why? I have no fucking clue. This should have been a complete squash. But here we are. But the fact is, they have a connection to Hangman Adam Page. So that's why it went the way it went, right? That's why the Ops chose the Dark Order, right? And as you expect, the Dark Order got squashed, right? Eventually, they got squashed. And then, Hangman comes out with a chain, right? And he announced that he's calling out the Ops for next week. That he won't come alone. Most likely he'll be coming with Swerve Strickland. He'll be joined by Swerve Strickland. Even though in this whole thing, there was a back and forth. There was a moment where Hangman was going to hit the buckshot, I think, on Powerhouse Hobbs, but security stopped it. So there was that. From there, we go on to we saw also a vignette. I mentioned this earlier too. We saw Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander calling out Tekla because Tekla wants a shot at the Women's World Championship. And Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander agreed that on Collision next week, it will be them two teaming up to take on the team of the Sisters of Sin of Sky Blue and Julia Hart. But when it was done. Jamie Hayter told Chris Statlander that when that's done, they got to talk about another match between them two this time, but for the AEW Women's World Championship. I think that's something you could probably do at the beginning of the new year. That's what I would do, but we'll see how they go about that. But hey, it's a good match to see down the road. From there, we got the main event. We got Claudio and Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, who, let's be honest, since losing the world title, right, has been up and down, right? But recently he's been tapping out. He's been giving up. And I thought their match, for the most part, was a good match, all right? Two veterans here, two guys who've been around the block. I think the last time these two guys went one-on-one, I believe it was, when they were both in WWE many years ago. But this is the thing, too, about the Continental Classic. Just like the G1, there'll be moments where if you're part of a faction, you're going to face off against each other. It's going to happen, right? And I think for a lot of people, when it comes to this, right, you were expecting, let's be honest here, I think a lot of people were expecting to see, all right, it's time to take out Jon Moxley. You would think, okay, now it's time to get rid of him, have the Death Riders turn their backs or, dispose of Jon Moxley, right? After all the stuff that he's done, he's lost, right? Tapped out multiple times. He quit multiple times, right? And I thought, again, the match itself, for what it was a good match, right? Two guys who were beating the fuck out of each other. Obviously, Moxley was bleeding, right? But when it was all said and done, Claudio Castagnoli with an uppercut, a running uppercut, knocks out Jon Moxley and beats him for the 1-2-3. So Claudio advances. And I was waiting. Okay, maybe here they would probably lay him out. Nothing. That didn't happen. Most likely, probably soon, maybe as we get close to World's End, you would think. Probably at World's End, they want to wait till the end of the year to do it, but we'll see. But overall, I thought it was a good match between Moxley and Claudio, in my humble opinion. But in case you're wondering, this is how the Gold League looks right now. Kyle Fletcher has 6 points. Okada has 3 points. Mike Bailey has 0 points. God damn it. Kevin Knight has 3 points. Pac has 3 points. Darby Allin get well soon. Has 0 points, but his status right now is unknown. And in the blue league, John Moxley has 3 points. Claudio has 6 points. Roderick, Konosuke Takeshita, who, by the way, we saw backstage in an altercation, right? We saw backstage, the Don Callis family talk about what happened, right? And Okada blaming Takeshita, even though he wasn't there, but he shows up. There's that face off, right? Because what's happening. The final will be Okada and Takeshita, right? And Don Callis trying to calm things down here. Kyle Fletcher's like, look, as long as the title stays in the Don Callis family, that's all that matters because the three of them are in the tournament. Kyle Fletcher, Okada, and Takeshita, right? So there was that. And again, I just think it's funny, Okada putting the blame on Takeshita. Like, the gas price can go up. Blame it on Takeshita, right? Roddy has 0 points. Mascara Dorada has 0 points. And my bad, Orange Cassidy has 0 points. But speaking of which, this coming Saturday on Collision, you will have John Moxley going one-on-one with the IWGP World Champion and Konosuke Takeshita. In the Blue League of the Continental Classic, you also will have Claudio Castagnoli going up against Mascara Dorada. That should be a fun match. And then also this Saturday on Collision, you have Roderick Strong, who's claiming he is not part of the conglomeration. He made that very clear. He'll be going up against Orange Cassidy in a match where I guess Roddy can't use chops. So there's that. Also at Winter is Coming Collision, you have live from Cardiff, Wales, you have Mark Briscoe versus Daniel Garcia. You'll also have the Sisters of Sin going up against Jamie Hayter and the AEW Women's World Champion Chris Statlander in a women's tag team match. And also this Wednesday at Winter is Coming on Dynamite, you will have the Babes of Wrath going up against Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. In my opinion, you should put the tag title, you should crown as your first AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. You should give it to the Babes of Wrath, in my opinion. That's what I would love to see. But we'll see how they go about it. And of course, on that show as well, Samoa Joe defending the AEW World Championship against Eddie Kingston. Should be a good one for the most part. In case you guys have not checked out the other content here on the channel, if you have not checked out the Raw Rundown, which I did live on Tuesday, my thoughts on, Braun Breaker cutting that amazing promo on CM Punk. Jey Uso snapped. And, of course, the return of Liv Morgan. In case you guys don't know, this Friday, tomorrow on SmackDown, it will be Gunther versus LA Knight in the finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament. And if you've not checked out our Survivor Series post show, go give that a watch when you get a chance. And also, I'm still looking for Epic. He's still missing. If you find him, let me know. All right. Follow me on X at Heel Steven. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. Thank you all for tuning in. Much love to all of you. Look, we're gonna get back into the swing of things now fully. Now that I'm settled in. I'm in the new house. Steve's Kitchen this Monday. All right. So tune in for that as well. All right. Much love to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. That's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you all once again. You guys are awesome. For myself and for the gang, this has been Something About Dynamite here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, everyone.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.